And here we go. We're going to take a look now at the hip hinge, which falls into a lot of different categories. The deadlift, the Romanian deadlift, sumo deadlifts, and all kinds of things where we pick stuff off the floor in the right fashion. Beck, if you set up Candace for me.
So I'm actually, I don't know if you can tell from there, I'm actually going to get her feet a little bit closer together. So I'm going to have her stance be right under her hips. From here, I like to tell people to almost be like a robot and nothing can move except for your hips. You can have a soft bend in your knees. So Candace, yep. From here, you're going to tilt backwards. You're going to go nice and slow. You will feel the weight in your heels almost so that the balls of your feet are lifting off the ground. You're going to go as far down as you can go to where it's only coming from your hips. A lot of people, this is a very tricky move to learn. There are a lot of assistance exercises you can use. This right here is an excellent hip hinge. Candace has a ton of range of motion.
Okay, for all of you people out there that love to object to things left and right, and of course to make comments, that's one of the best hip hinges I've ever seen. Range of motion's excellent. The counseling of the hip hinge was awesome too. That concept of bringing your hip flexors in and keeping them in that position as you drive your hips into extension is a beautiful thing. As you come through into flexion, you get that wonderful range of motion. Neutral spine position, which Becky brought up, really important. In neutral spine position, there's no extra loading in that area. Yet it acts as a static contractor to control the lower back. Beck, let's take us through it again, one more time.
So nice and slow. Feel your butt go behind you, your hips shift behind, and right there, you'll feel lengthening in your hamstrings. The weight is in your heels. She's got excellent control. And if you look at her back, she's got her nice natural curve going in her low back.
Okay, come on up, Candace. Very nice. Again, one of the preeminent exercises for working the glutes and activating them under what's called a closed chain load. Feet on the floor. We need that. We can do a lot of things in open chain, okay? We're off and we don't make that connection. But we don't have this kind of vertical loading that makes us more athletic and more prone to a good gait and good walking potential. Now, what I want you to do, Beck, is I want you to explain to me why you brought her feet back in at the beginning.
I brought her feet back in at the beginning because her stance to me, if internally, if you can look at where her hips sit, I mean, this would just be too wide. If I were out here, this isn't a natural, I don't have as much space in my hips right here. So I want this stance to be right under where my hips are naturally, just how my walking stride is, just how I would jump and land.
Yep, and that is an excellent thought. Keep that in mind out there, that alignment allows you to stay within the framework of your body. So if I'm 6'8", I might have a different spacing in that unit. But she has put her in the proper position anatomically for her to maximize her extension and flexion in the range of motion.
So Candace, if you face forward and you bring your feet wider, that right here, so her feet are not under her hips. Bring them right in. So that right there, her feet are right under her hips.
Yep, and that's excellent, again, in the thought that, as Becky explains, as you go out wider, you start to change the valgus, the differential to your knees. You could experience different problems cascading down your body. So you're always looking at staying out of harm's way by maximizing the range of motion and maximizing the efficiency of the range of motion. All right, what I want to do is I want to put a superset together. I want us to do a squat, okay? And we'll do 3 repetitions of the squat and then come up and do 3 repetitions of the hip hinge, okay? Very good. So set up your squat first.
And now let's get, yep, your toes look good. Very nice. She's got excellent depth, a lot of length in her adductors.
Very nice, Candace. All right, let's turn. Okay, now we can see this wonderful relationship that Becky explained between the squat and the hip hinge. This lengthening and extension of the hamstrings and the glute, that interstitial tie-in, there's no real mark there, but there is a tie-in between the fascia of the hamstring and the glute. So our body in anatomy trains is just one big fascia interloping area, and we've got to learn how to work it in its components. Come on up, Candace.
I also like at the bottom of that first rep, she made the adjustment. Her head was looking up slightly, and she brought it right back to neutral.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent point. To crane her head back is going to put unnecessary strain. To keep her head in line with her spine keeps good erector alignment, which is very, very nice. Okay, what we've done now, thanks to these two wonderful ladies, is we've shown you the setup for the squat and the hip hinge. Now, these are all rudimentary functions. There are a lot of subtle adaptations to everything, as Becky explained, and we demonstrated using the anatomy of Candace and how it fits. What we want to do in the future is we want to get into more of the subtleties, and then we'll get into the offshoots of these things, various different aspects of the squat and the different ways to perform your hip hinge. Thanks to Becky Samuel and Candace Brown, and to our wonderful producer, John Mers, who just recently escaped.